and Rams game last week. As a matter of fact, he's the one that just beat me and knocked me out of the playoff hunt. So, for starters, he can go to hell. And for second, let's talk a little bit about what he and I talked about. We were talking about LT, LaDainian Tomlinson, and I don't even know how this got brought up, but it was kind of a, where does LT rank among the greatest of all time? And, I said, oh, he's definitely one of them, I said. That's how I got started. Oh, he's definitely one of them. And Will wasn't so sure. Like, he just wasn't so sure. He said, oh, man, I don't know. I mean, yeah, he was really good. And I said, well, to me, he's top 5 at least. Top 5. Will says, no, he's, maybe in the top 10, but probably not. And I was blown away. I said, dude, do you remember LT in his prime? We see LT now, and it's clear that he's lost a step, right? It's clear that he's not what he was. But don't forget what he was. Just because we're blown away by AP and Chris Johnson today, 5 years ago, LT was that guy. Pull up an LT highlight reel from YouTube. It'll blow your mind. This guy was incredible. One of the best to ever play. And Willie's making the argument, well, he's never won anything. He's got no championships. He's got no Super Bowl rings. You can't be the greatest if you don't have a Super Bowl ring. I said, okay, no, that makes sense. So Barry Sanders, not one of the greatest ever. Right? Oh, Barry Sanders, one of the greatest. I said, okay, yeah, no, it's the same deal. He says, well, LT's not good as Barry Sanders. Okay, I'll give you that. I would take Barry Sanders over LaDainian Tomlinson, both in their prime. But one thing we disagreed on was Emmitt Smith. I said, I'd take LT over Emmitt Smith 10 times out of 10. No way. Emmitt Smith has rings. And I want to get Will in here, and we'll have this conversation, but, I wanted to talk about this. I wanted to see kind of what you guys thought. Because to me, he's one of the best ever. And I went and I looked up, some things. NFL all-time leaders. Rushing touchdowns, LT's second. He's got 135 career rushing touchdowns, second to only Emmitt Smith, and he has 29 touchdowns behind Emmitt Smith. Next guy in line, Marcus Allen with 123. The next guy in line that is actually playing, there's not. There's not. The top 20 guys are all retired with the exception of LaDainian Tomlinson. And number 20 is Tony Dorsett, who comes in at 77. So as you can see, there is no one currently playing in the NFL anywhere close to LT's career touchdown total. All right, and then we're just talking rushing touchdowns. He's number 2 of all time in rushing touchdowns. Overall touchdowns, well, that's a different story. Well, he's got 15 touchdowns receiving in his career, putting him at 150 total touchdowns for his career, which is incredible. And if you don't believe me, I'll tell you how it ranks here in a second. 3rd all-time. Of all the players who have ever played the game, LaDainian Tomlinson is 3rd all-time, trailing only Emmitt Smith and Jerry Rice. All right, guys that are behind him, everyone else who's played. Oh, you know who number 4 on the list is? T.O. How about that? Tied with Randy Moss and Marcus Allen. LaDainian Tomlinson, 3rd all time. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. We'll go rushing yards because he's down the list a little bit in rushing yards. He's 8th all time in rushing yards, 12,321. All right, behind Tony Dorsett by about 400 yards. Eric Dickerson by 900 or so. Behind the bus for about 1,300. Emmitt Smith, the career leader, obviously, 18,355 yards. And LT's a good ways behind Emmitt. But I would argue that LT's never had the line that Emmitt had. Never been on the kind of teams that Emmitt was on. To me, I say the only way we can do it, and I was trying to talk to Willie about it. I said, man, the only way you can look, he goes, what are you just giving it the eyeball test? And I said, well, yeah, how else can you judge it? if you're comparing running backs over like a historical span, the only way you can judge it is the eyeball test. Otherwise, you get into an endless amount of hypotheticals. Well, if you put this guy behind this line, well, he runs for that much more. Well, then you look at the competition. Defenses weren't as good back then, or to some delusional people, defense isn't as good now. I mean, it's endless. You can go hypothetical all day. So all you can do is go eyeball test. I watched Emmitt Smith's career. I've watched LT's career. I'll take LT every time. Every single time. Listen, Emmitt Smith played behind one of the best lines ever, which is one of the reasons that he has 18,355 career yards. As a running back, he never got touched. I mean, he never had the opportunity. Listen, no other running back in history has had that kind of opportunity to have that long of a career without going down, without getting hurt. Emmitt Smith had the best line. I mean, he didn't get touched until he got into the secondary every time he got the ball. Okay, I'm going to hop back into the chat room here and see what's going on. Mike says, in all seriousness, should I do a show tomorrow? If it's shown, I do indeed have a concussion. That's up to you, bro. Whatever you want to do, man, if you feel up to it.